Beneath the fog, the legend of the haunted lighthouse. Along the rugged coastline of Blackmoor Bay, a solitary lighthouse stood tall, its weathered stones battered by centuries of relentless winds and waves. The locals called it the Watcher's Light, but few dared approach it. For as long as anyone could remember, strange occurrences plagued the lighthouse, and rumors of ghostly apparitions were whispered around the village. The origins of the curse. Decades ago, Captain Elias Thorne was the keeper of the lighthouse. Known for his fierce loyalty to the sea, Elias lived in isolation with his young daughter, Clara, after his wife's untimely death. One fateful night, during a ferocious storm, a shipwreck occurred just off the coast. Desperate sailors clung to debris, calling for help, but Elias, consumed by grief and paranoia, refused to light the beacon. He believed the ship carried pirates who would bring doom to his daughter and the village. By dawn, the storm had passed, but the sea was littered with bodies. Among the dead were innocent travelers, including Clara, who had secretly gone out to help the stranded sailors. Overwhelmed with guilt and despair, Elias vanished, leaving behind only his journal, filled with ramblings about shadowy figures and haunting whispers. The lighthouse has stood empty ever since, its beacon flickering on foggy nights without anyone to light it. The villagers claimed it was Elias, forever bound to the lighthouse, his soul unable to find peace. The present-day mystery. Years later, a team of researchers led by Dr. Amelia Hawthorne arrived in Blackmoor Bay, determined to uncover the truth behind the haunted lighthouse. Skeptical yet intrigued by the legends, Amelia believed the strange occurrences could be explained by science. Her team included Jacob, historian fascinated by maritime lore, Laura, a tech expert with a passion for debunking supernatural myths, and Ethan, a former sailor who had once experienced an unexplained encounter at sea. On their first night at the lighthouse, the fog rolled in thick and heavy. They set up camp inside, surrounded by outdated equipment and remnants of Elias's life. As midnight approached, the temperature plummeted, and the once still air grew heavy with tension. Laura's voice trembled as she called out, "Did anyone else hear that?" A faint, rhythmic tapping echoed through the halls. Jacob flipped through Elias's journal, reading aloud. "When the fog thickens, they come. Shadows born of the sea, whispers carried by the wind." Suddenly, the beacon above them flickered to life, casting eerie shadows across the walls. No one had touched it. Ethan's face paled. "I've seen this light before, out at sea, during a storm. It saved my life, but I saw figures that shouldn't have been there." The descent into terror. Determined to uncover the source, they ascended the spiral staircase to the lantern room. The fog outside pressed against the windows, making the world beyond seem like a ghostly void. Amelia reached out to examine the light mechanism, but as her fingers brushed the cold metal, a sudden force knocked her back. A deep, guttural voice resonated through the room. "You were warned." Shadows coalesced in the fog, forming humanoid shapes that moved with unnatural fluidity. Clara's faint laughter echoed from below, chilling them to their cores. Panic set in. Laura tried to record the phenomena, but her equipment malfunctioned. "We need to leave, now," she cried. But the door slammed shut, trapping them inside. Jacob's eyes widened in horror. "The journal, it says there's no escape once the beacon is lit." Desperate, Amelia flipped through the journal, searching for answers. She found a final, cryptic entry. "To end the curse, one must offer light where darkness once prevailed." Understanding dawned upon her. "We need to guide the lost souls," she shouted. Ethan, though terrified, stepped forward. "I'll do it. I owe them my life." He climbed to the beacon, adjusting the light to shine directly into the fog. The shadows hesitated, their forms flickering. The whispers grew louder, more coherent, as if pleading for salvation. Amelia joined him, focusing the light. "We're here to help," she called out. The fog began to lift, and with it, the shadows faded. The lighthouse grew silent, the oppressive weight lifting from the air. A haunting legacy. When dawn broke, the team emerged, shaken but alive. The villagers, watching from afar, saw the lighthouse standing tall, its light now calm and steady. Amelia returned to the village with Elias's journal, determined to preserve the story of the Watcher's light. Though the lighthouse was no longer haunted, the legend endured, reminding everyone that beneath the fog, some secrets refused to stay buried. And on certain misty nights, if you listen closely, you might still hear the faint laughter of Clara and the whispered apology of Captain Elias.